show where I try to educate real stories.
Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. I know, I have sunglasses on tonight. I have a terrible, terrible eye infection and I can barely open my eyes. They're blood red and swollen, so I'm incognito tonight. Although I said incognito earlier. I'm incognito tonight. And but I have, we're going back to our old format. I'm excited about that. We have my co-host, Mr. Danny Sneed, who was nice enough to get another member of our church to come in and tell her story. And I'm excited because we don't get many female stories, although we know a lot of females have gone through a lot of the same trials and tribulations as the men have. So I'm excited that Belinda Somerville agreed to come in and tell her story. I know it's difficult to do, but you know, in Truth and Justice, we want to talk about crime stories because we want the citizens of Harris County to understand the criminal justice system from the inside out. A lot of us know the outside of it and the result of it, but we don't know the inside of it. And with these type of stories, we can deter crime. Hopefully young people watch it and realize what will happen to them. And we can just understand the system. One of the things that I get asked the most is, why did this judge do this? Or why did this lawyer do this? And these are some of the ways that we try to answer these questions by people's stories. So Belinda, thank you for agreeing to share your story. Tell us about you. Who is Belinda Somerville?
Well, Belinda Somerville is a 52-year-old female who is a returning citizen.
Yay.
I returned in 2000, have not been back in that time period, and I met Danny at St. John's Church that I chose to attend. When I was released in 2000, I went to Dallas. Okay. Because I wanted a change of scenery. They told me to change everything, people, places, and things, so I was following the advice because I did not want to return. So I done just that. And I stayed in Dallas for 13 years.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, I went to college, got a degree, got a job.
What did you get a degree in?
It's business administration. They gave it a fancy name, organizational behavior. That's what it's called. But I got a job with UPS, and I've been on that job since that time.
Since what year?
2003 is my hire date. I had another job when I got there, but the company closed, and they wanted to relocate me to Maryland, and parole wouldn't do that, so I found another job, you know.
That's good to know that UPS hires returning citizens. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yes, they do. It just depends on your crime. If it's not theft or something violent, then it's a one-on-one basis.
I'm out of there.
Yours is violent. But she had some thefts, too.
Yeah, but...
I mean, she had some thefts. They were a long time ago.
I was going to say, think about the time frame.
Think about
the time frame. It was a long time. And
like you said, they were checks. So it wasn't like, Right,
it wasn't like merchandise.
Merchandise or going in,
So I was given a chance.
Yeah, and, you were given a real second chance.
Yes, I was.
Because a lot of employers don't hire at all. Even young people who just get shoplifting cases, they see theft, they don't hire them.
Right.
So that is a major thing. Do they start returning citizens in the warehouse or anywhere special? Or
everybody starts the same way. Anybody who works for UPS, no matter what their position is now, they started the same way. They came in as a package handler or clerk. They were in that, it's not a warehouse. Warehouses store things. It's called a hub. It's just one way in and another way out. Everything that comes in the building leaves that day. There's no storage space. It's just a portal for items to come in and leave. But I love my job. I can honestly say that, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm very grateful for it.
You've been there 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
great.
that's a fantastic.
I didn't even know that.
That's
Yes, I've been with
wonderful.
UPS for 13 years. And,
Wow,
I
and you started in
transferred.
Dallas and transferred to Houston.
They transferred me down here, no problem. They were happy to see me, wanted me. I have a lot of skills in the company. I can do a whole lot of stuff. So,
right.
you know, they wanted me, so that made me feel good just to be
Yeah,
wanted. Somebody
of
wants
course,
me, you
of
know.
course.
That
Let's start from the beginning. though. This is the good part. Let's get to the broke down part. How'd you get here? Tell me what happened. Tell me about the way you were raised.
Well, I was raised, I had 3 brothers, 2 older, 1 younger, no sisters.
All with the same same parents?
Same parents, same mama, same daddy. We were raised together, always. We were always together.
But your mother was 17.
Yeah, but when I was born, my mother was, 30?
Oh, okay, so they all spread out. Well, when your parents got married and your mother was 17 and your father was 27? Mm-hmm. Did they have kids immediately or did it take a few years?
My brother, let me see, I have a brother 52. No, I'm 52. I have a brother 54. And I have a brother 56, and I have a brother 46.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I was just always in the middle, the middle child. I think I was raised pretty decent. You know, my parents didn't expose us to a lot, but I was curious.
Well,
So
tell me about the dysfunctional, raised in a dysfunctional family that you told me about off air.
okay, it was dysfunctional. I say it was dysfunctional because my mother drank a lot after the years had passed.
Now, was she drinking, like working drinking? She worked every day and
Functional, I say functional alcoholic.
Okay.
Or functional heavy drinker.
drank? Okay.
And with my father in and out of prison on drugs.
But how did he get there? Because you said when they got together, he was in the military and your mother was basically in high school. So he wasn't.
She had graduated.
Oh, at 17, okay. She had graduated, but he wasn't on drugs in the military.
Yes, he was.
Oh, he was, okay.
Yes, we were.
Yes, ma'am. He was.
So you think that he was on drugs when he married her?
I can't be exactly sure, but most likely.
Yeah, you think that was his lifestyle?
Yeah, that was his lifestyle, you know. And she just kind of went into it and
Was he able to stay in the military for a substantial amount of years to where he could retire?
I think he didn't retire from the military, but he did his time.
Did y'all travel with him?
No,
Okay.
no, we never did. And his mother was there here in Houston, and she was a big part. My grandma was a big part of our lives. She helped my mother take care of us.
But your father's mother, your paternal grandmother. Where was your maternal grandmother?
She was already dead. She was deceased.
Okay.
She died while my mother was pregnant with me in '64.
Gotcha.
And the dysfunction really came about to me in 1972 or 3. I started to see things because my father became violent.
Okay.
And that was a big deal because the police were at the house because, you know, I'm calling them, you know, my daddy's fighting my mama, you know. And my mom,
So you're about 8 years old.
going on 9. And that's early, you
That
know.
is,
And it was a lot for me. And
What did their brothers do?
nothing.
Oh, punks?
Yeah,
brother.
but that's what I
Oh,
said.
punks.
But they don't hear you because 2 of them, the 2 oldest ones, they're incarcerated.
Okay, all
at this
right.
point.
Well,
And the young one, he's not listening.
the 2 old ones are punks.
You know
But
what?
not helping.
I felt that way. I felt
But
that
you
way.
felt like somebody had to help your mother.
And it was gonna be me.
They
Right,
were scared though. They probably were scared.
No, I have an actually similar story. I started helping my mother when I was 8, and my brother didn't help. But he was younger.
But we ain't gonna call him out.
Ricky, you might be a punk.
We ain't gonna call him.
He's still around. He might beat me up. He grew
So
up,
he ain't no
wait a minute.
punk.
He grew up to be much bigger than me.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, but you know, things got out of hand. It got to the point. My mother shot my father.
All right. Now she wasn't taking them ass
Yeah,
whippings no more.
She said, and she shot him because I was working. J.W. Weingarten's on Homestead in Tidwell.
How old were you working?
14 when I got the job.
Okay.
14 years old. People say, how you do that? I say, I'm just telling you, I had a job, income tax, everything. I had a job, yeah.
Been there.
Yeah, so
So they had a fight one day while you at work.
I was at work, and my
And-
neighbors came up there and said, hey, you need to come home. I said, well, I don't get off till 9. No, you need to come home. Why? Your mama shot your dad. I said, oh, I'll be off at 9, like I said. You know,
Why? You didn't give a damn, huh? What?
That was overdue.
I wanted him dead. I did.
Really?
Honestly.
Did she kill him?
Wow.
No, he didn't die.
Where did she shoot him at?
In the mouth.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
Yes, ma'am. Everybody that knows me knows this. And they be like, Belinda is saying that on TV. Lord have
Well,
mercy.
it's public record when you get shot.
Yeah.
Especially in the mouth.
Especially in the mouth.
And he
It's
didn't
public
die.
record.
But listen, why he
But
didn't?
I bet it messed it. Why?
His body went into shock because he was so high on the heroin.
Oh, he was a heroin addict.
And but I'm gonna say this: he became a husband, a father,
She had to shoot
a
him to
church
make him
member,
act right.
and he would always say, when I was going through, he would always say, "Look at me. This how you want to be? Look
Did
what
it
it took."
deform his face?
No, knocked all his teeth, shattered all his teeth. That was nothing. He got a new set. You know, but he
Get
was.
some more teeth.
Yeah, he was a beautiful set. He was paralyzed from his right elbow to the right hand, from the right knee to the right foot, and he had a speech impediment, and he had to go through a lot of therapy. He stayed in the hospital for months and months and months, and no one went to see him except me and my brother that's next to me. But I didn't go in the room. And when he got out, he tried to get high again
What?
and almost died. And they told him, "You got a choice now. You can."
He still
you
went
can-
back to that heroin?
They said you could, but that was one. It was a one-time thing. If you do this again, you're gonna die. So here's your choice. So he got his disability and lived his life until they died. They stayed together till they
Oh,
died.
they stayed together?
Yes, ma'am.
Dang.
He wasn't. He was wrong and he knew it. He apologized to everybody, and he said it took what it took, and he was not angry at her. And I never heard him say anything to her about it again.
He
But
didn't
then-
beat up no more?
No,
I'm just
that,
asking.
that was the last fight.
Some
right
devils
there.
don't stop. I'm just asking.
No, and he never used drugs again. And
What about her? How did she keep drinking, or how did she feel after
No.
she shot him?
I mean, she was kind of nervous. I remember her being nervous.
Like nervous, like he gonna come and do something to her?
Like I,
nervous?
like I don't know, I'm gonna have to kill him.
I might really have to
I
kill
might
him.
really have to kill him.
I might this might not be enough. If I let him back in after I shot him, I might can't sleep at night because I might really have to kill
And in the
him.
beginning,
I bet that would be rough.
And in the beginning, she couldn't. She couldn't. But it worked out. It worked out. It worked out. He joined church and everything. And then my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and that was hard for him. It was hard for me. I ran from it. You know, went deeper into drugs.
How old were you when you started drugs?
Actually 14. 14 years old is when I experimented with cocaine. It wasn't crack.
Really? And it wasn't weed?
I smoked a little weed too. Yeah. But I always had a big head, grandiosity. That's what they call it.
Oh, okay. You
And,
like y'all ought to be good friends.
you
I
know.
got that
Well, yeah, I
grandiosity.
was sitting there. You know, she graduated the same year I did, and we're the exact same age.
Oh, okay. Because you reminded me of Danny's story. He used that grandiosity. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Experimented
Yeah, my
with
first drug.
experiment with cocaine. Okay.
Yeah.
Powder cocaine though.
You had to cook it up into the rock form, freebasing.
The free base.
And people say, well, how did you do that and graduate? I graduated with honors.
From Forest Brook.
Class of 82. I graduated number 93 in a class of 563 students. And after I graduated, it's like I just got lost. I mean, why didn't I go to college?
Well, after high school, did you work?
I can't remember.
Oh,
For
my
about a year or so.
You just lost.
Just lost.
Now, were you staying in the streets lost, or you were
No.
just doing what you wanted to do, coming in, running in and out? Did you keep your job that you were working at 14?
It had closed down. Wine Gardens had
Wine
closed. I
Gardens.
worked until I graduated.
And
It
that's
had
when Wine Gardens closed down.
Well, it closed down, I think, about some months before, and I went down the street to Rice Food Market, and then I was giving away their groceries, and they fired me. So, just being honest.
That's
We
what
was barbecuing every day.
That's how we
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, you-
Come to my line, girl. Come
and
to
then
my
they was
line.
paying me on the side, just to see
That's
already
wrong.
just criminal
I mean,
behavior.
what made you be criminal like that? Your parents?
I guess I got it from my daddy.
Oh, because he was just he
Yeah.
was criminal like
He was
that.
criminal.
It didn't even describe as criminal behavior. We just not even looked at it like you're doing something criminal. It's
But
like,
tell me what your father's criminal behavior was that you saw that you think you emulated.
He con artist. He was a con artist. I think that's, robbery by conversation,
wow.
manipulation. He conned people out of things versus robbing you physically or something like that. He was more of a con artist, and I think I really got that from him, that type of behavior.
Was he a working man at all? Mm-hmm. Where'd he work?
You ready?
I'm scared, but I'm ready.
He was a drug rehabilitation counselor for the VA. He founded a program called Glass Arc. It used to be on McGowan and 2am.
They still hang around up in that area. Isn't that where
I used to go over there with
recovery
him
is?
every.
Over there? That's
I used to go over there with him every Saturday, and I know my daddy was high.
So he's
facilitating the
facilitating the VA recovery program, high as a kite. So that's part of the con, right?
See, manipulation. Yeah.
What?
That's
Great
what
place
he
to
did.
hide.
Now that's before he got shot in the mouth.
That's before.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what?
After he got shot in the mouth in '79, he didn't work nowhere. He was disabled. He was disabled then.
Okay. Wow. So tell me about you. So you picked up your first case when you were about how old?
I turned 18 that day. That was the first case. And they was telling me, and they was like,
that theft case with the car theft?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And they were saying, you such a good criminal. You didn't even have sense enough to lie about your birthday. You could have went home. And I was like, that's where it started.
Okay. Now, did you steal the car or somebody else stole it?
No, a friend of mine stole the car. And he asked me to ride with him to the car wash where he was going to take the wheels off and just stand out there. He said, just stand out there. You don't know me, I don't know you. If you see the police, just signal. I saw the police. My signal was, I ran.
That's a good
I
signal.
wasn't a good criminal.
That's a good
anyway.
signal.
Already.
I ran.
So when you ran,
it was
when
over
you ran,
there.
your boy knew something was up.
Yeah. And then, this is really, I'm not even ashamed to say it, I got away.
What?
And I ran into some apartments on Laura Copy, right off of Homestead. And I ran into the apartments, and instead of staying there, I went back out. And
Back to the car wash.
No, I just walked out, and the cop seen me and said, stop right there, come in, arrest me, and put me in the back seat. And he said, why did you come out? See, there was see there? All the signs telling me, just leave it alone.
This ain't for you.
I went to jail.
And did the guy go to jail too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Went to jail and got probation under alias name. That's where it started.
That's where that alias started.
And when I came out, I went in the Army.
Oh, I didn't know you were in the Army too. All right,
I went
girl.
straight in the Army.
Now, how old were you? 18 or 19?
Well, let's see. I was 18.
So you didn't have to stay on
I was
probation?
18. I was about 19.
Well,
I
what
left. It wasn't my real name.
God.
and you know who told me to go, right?
Your
Daddy.
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 Oh, you a daddy's
baby.
girl. Okay.
And I went, and I was getting ready to go to, this Saturday we're going to know the year, Operation Desert Storm.
I forgot what year it is.
But
Danny knows.
they had a hold on me when I got ready to x-ray. I was like, a hold? And then the guy pulled me to the side. I said, why they got a hold on me? And he said, well, 9 times out of 10, if we can't x-ray you, it's because you're pregnant. I was like, I'm not pregnant. He said, well, you got to go to the med. So I went to the med. Yeah, you're pregnant.
What?
I was like, I must be the next Virgin Mary because I can't be pregnant.
Right.
And I sat there and I thought, and nothing came to my mind. I was like, I must be crazy or something, But kept on thinking, then it hit me, and I was like, oh,
What happened?
no.
Vivian,
I'm confused. Hell, I'm confused. You got me confused. It's a good story. I'm fascinated. You say I can't be.
You're the Virgin Mary.
You're the Virgin Mary. If you're the Virgin Mary, then.
Best friend, growed up together. Everybody said we was gonna get married, and we was like, I don't want to marry you, and it's like I don't want to marry you either. That ain't what we wanted. We were just friends. We grew up together. And I remembered one night, went out with a friend, came home tipsy, and I called him and I said, hey, I want to have a baby. And he said, okay, come on over.
I'll give you one.
And I went over, and that is just what happened. But I had forgot about that. It was 5 months later.
How'd
did
you
not
forget
know
about it?
Because I just did. I think I just blocked it out.
What kind of weed we out?
What kind of drugs were y'all doing? You don't
it was
remember screwing
good.
a dude?
I do remember. Of course I remember. I remember.
I'm like,
You
dang.
want to remember.
I'm like, he wasn't memorable or nothing.
That was my son's father was my best friend. Yeah.
Wow.
That's my best
How many
friend.
children do you have?
Just one. He's 32.
Okay.
I was 20 when I had him, so I was 19 when I got pregnant.
So you got kicked out the Army?
Well, I didn't get kicked out. I
You
got
just
an
didn't-
honorable discharge
you
under
just couldn't
medical
get in?
terms.
Oh, okay.
I was already in. I could not go overseas. I couldn't go. I couldn't go on that assignment. So, well, my mom and daddy, they were ecstatic. They were so happy. Come home, come on, okay, I'm coming. Where else I'm going? So I came home and they was like, just give us the baby. Go about your business. That's what they wanted. So my son's father, he didn't do what I thought he should do as a parent. First of all, he said, well, congratulations, when I told him. And I'm like,
Dog, Belinda.
that was hard.
That's cold.
You were my first, and then he told me, well, you up there in South Carolina. I don't know what you mean. So I told him, but I'm 5 months pregnant. I was pregnant
Right.
already, you know. And he was like, I don't know. So it's no, he wasn't there for me. So
But I thought he was your
anger.
best friend.
I thought he was too.
I mean, your friend's supposed to be there for
But
you.
he was.
Eventually.
He was, yes, ma'am. But I'm like, okay then, forget you. So, you know, I go through the pregnancy. It's my parents and my family, you know. And after I have my child, I get a job with the City of Houston Housing Authority.
Okay.
So I'm assistant manager at Irvington Village. And then all of a sudden they come in one day with a check in an envelope and a letter, no more job. And I just got
What happened with the job?
it just played out. I don't know, just played out. I don't want to work for the city. And ever again. And it's just like the bottom fell out of my life. And I had to go back home, had an apartment, everything. Just had to go back home and I just got depressed. And I started using drugs.
What kind of
again.
drugs was that?
Everything. Marijuana, alcohol, crack. It's crack now. Just getting high and just like I was.
Now, how do you get, when you don't have a job and you don't have money, how are you getting these drugs?
Well, I knew somebody. I can't say their name.
Okay, I understand.
But they were very close to my mother, and all I had to do was wash dishes, clean up the house, hang out.
And you got your money.
No, I got the drugs.
Oh, they had the drugs.
Yeah, so I really can't say.
I understand.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and it was so people say, well, that's just like how did you? You know, you wasn't out there in the streets like that.
Right.
And so you know, I let him know. I say, and I asked him right now, why did you do it? He say, to keep you from going out in the streets and doing what I know other females do.
Right.
You know, and I had to say thank you.
Yeah, you have to.
I had to say thank you for that. I had to say thank you for that. But now, like if I go by his house, he'll be like, call me on the phone, get away from my house. And I'll be like, I'm just hollering at you, I'll get away. But, you know, because he doesn't want to ever see me go that route again. So I just started hanging around with people that were doing things that if I knew it was illegal, that's where I wanted to be.
Even, what did you think about your son? What kind of jeopardy you were putting him in?
My parents were taking care of him because my mom said, I'm not taking him from you, but I just want you to know that we got him. Just leave him here. Go and do what you got to do. Because my father knew. He said, you ain't going to stop till you tired. So it's nothing that I can really say to you. But I can't do nothing but pray for you. But he's always say, just look at me. You act like you don't remember what all that kind of lifestyle led me to. Getting shot in my mouth, you know, and I got shot at. And
Oh, you been shot at too?
oh, yeah, they missed. I run fast. I run fast. Yeah, I run fast. I was assaulted, beaten up, beaten down, sideways. I, you know, been through some things out there in those streets, you know. And when I found out that my mother had cancer and she said they gave her 6 months, I just took off walking that day. And my neighbor found me. I think they said it was a week later.
What?
And I was under the 610 bridge on Homestead and 610. And he brought me home. And to this day, I can't tell you where I was, but a couple of days later, I got arrested. And that was April '92. And that's when I ended up with a 25-year sentence. And that's
Let's go back though before we get to 25 years. We on probation in terms of your criminal record, and when you're 18, and then after that, I think you pick up another. That's the theft by check game. Remember, I think you got a theft by felony
possession.
Oh, it was a possession?
It was a possession.
That violated your probation?
I knocked on the door of a known drug house,
Okay.
and I saw the van in the yard, computer in the console.
You didn't realize that was the Jump Out Boys?
I was that high.
What?
I was that high. I had lost all touch with reality, and that's what they said. They say, nobody over here don't have no van with no computer set up in the console, and all you do is turn around and walk off, but you still.
Trying to go get that dope.
So knocking on the door is a case?
No, but when you have a pistol, and you have drugs, and you have paraphernalia,
And you on
probation,
You on probation.
You're out of there.
yeah,
You
that
can't
not-
carry no gun. You on felony probation.
They didn't even worry about that. They just took me on in, and
Let's stop right here. We're on the second case, and we're going to take a phone call. Caller, thank you for calling Truth and Justice with Vivian King.
Hi, I want to tell my cousin Belinda we are so proud of her, and she has come a long way.
Isn't that a blessing?
What she's doing. Yes, it is. That's my mom's niece, and we love her dearly.
I know it. I'm falling in love with her talking to her today. She's making me laugh. So telling this story, she's telling it in a way in which we can handle it. Don't you think?
Yes, ma'am.
And we
Yes,
know
ma'am.
she's come a long way. Knowing that she's kept a job for 13 years is a beautiful story after this story, right?
Oh, yes, ma'am. She's strong-headed. Let me tell you. Yes, she's very strong-headed. But we love you, Belinda.
you too, Karen.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
All right. So we're on the second case. You walked into the dope house. All right, that's the second case. So that sent you to prison, and that's the one we think is the 2 years, right?
No, that would have been 6.
That's the 6 year?
2 was in the beginning. That would have been 6. And I got lost in the system. Remember all the names that I was telling you when we were off the air?
Right.
They came to...
Because when I looked up Belinda's criminal record in anticipation of today, I saw at the end that 25 was in her name, and the first one was in her name, but there was a whole bunch of aliases in the middle. That's why I meant to bring it. I left it at the office.
It was
though.
interesting.
Yeah,
huh?
it was because I was gonna call her by all those names and trick her, but I couldn't do it. She wasn't gonna answer. She said she wasn't gonna answer those names.
They still looking for some of them.
Still looking. But back, and let me tell you, from the educational standpoint, when I started at the DA's office in '92. People could use a lot of names because they didn't have the fingerprinting system. Although when you got arrested, they took your fingerprint on your arrest paperwork. On that card, they call a blotter. So they would take your fingerprint on there, but they didn't have it electronic. Johnny Holmes, the DA Johnny Holmes, who I worked for, they bought somewhere right around the time I started, they bought a system that they call, the initials are AFIS, A-F-I-S, and it's a automated fingerprinting system. And so they put everybody's fingerprints in there. And so the computer matches the fingerprints. So you can't have aliases anymore. So the computer matches the fingerprint and maybe a couple other things when you get booked. And so every name you've ever had and all those spins meld together now. So, but when she first started getting in trouble, you could give them different names. And they could sometimes cross-check you, but it was difficult to do, especially with the Hispanic population. They really could do it because, they already... a lot of them, if they're from traditional Mexico, have 2 last names. They'll have the mother and the father's last name, so they might be booked on just the mother's name, which might be Hernandez, and or just the father's name. This is Davila. And it might not be a lie, because all of them are their names, but they might just be using one at a time. So they really could hide from the system, but hide from your priors, because that's what it's all about. So anyway, you were getting arrested, and under all these names that I didn't bring, but I could have sworn one was Linda Moore. But she said, no wonder she said she was telling me off air it wasn't her because she's going to deny the names. Remember she said she wasn't going to answer to them?
I've told you the ones that I had.
Yeah, you had some good ones. But anyway, okay, so then let's talk about the next case. How'd you catch your next case?
When I knocked on the door.
After that. Okay, so you went to prison for 6 years. How long?
See, I didn't go to prison. I was in the county.
Right, because that's back in those days, they were so overcrowded.
The PIA, parole and absentia from there. But I stayed there. I was lost in the system on the 2. They lost me in the system. I ended up having to go to Gatesville, get a number, and come back. Then I got out, and then I got the 6. And I PIA'd out of the county on the 6. And then the next case...
And the PIA back then was parole in absentia.
And then the next case, when I got the 25, I was, I can't really remember. I know my daddy said, Belinda, if you go down them streets, you're going to jail. And I went down the street.
And went to jail.
I went to jail. Belinda, what was it for that time? crack. And the two big cases she went to jail on was second-degree felonies. Back then they used to call it cocaine less than 28 grams. And that's before they had the state jails. So at one point, I know the last one in 92, which we can skip to, is when she got to 25. And I think it was 92, so they still hadn't built the state jails yet, so you could get out pretty quickly. They built the state jails, I believe, in 94. So in 92, when you went, how long did you do on 25?
I came home in 2000. And I'd only been home about 60 days from that sentence before that, before I got to 25. But that's when they had started.
They showed that at 4 years. I think that was 4.
They started the set-off thing. Every time you come up for parole, they set you off. So I was really basically 30 months I was supposed to be up for parole, and if I had good behavior and whatever, I should have been able to make parole. But they gave me a set-off, a 2-year set-off, or they might have gave me a 3-year.
And then, like I said, by 94, they had those state jails, so they had a lot more space. So those they had changed the range of punishment. So it wasn't, all the crimes used to be less than 28 grams, but then they created the less than a gram. So most people who get caught have less than a gram.
It could just be paraphernalia. It was enough.
Yeah, and so they sent those to state jail, and they weren't sending everybody back to TDC like you were. So, because back then, if you just had paraphernalia on each one, just a little residue on each one, you could still get 25 to life. Because of the little, so that's why you got set off, because they built those jails when you went in. And once they built those jails, everybody in the early 90s did long sentences. Some people got 12 years, did 12 years. They did long sentences. The guys did, like on the aggravated cases, they did the whole time. So anyway, so you actually stayed for 8 years then. So how was that? Tell us about those 8 years. How did you make that work out?
Well,
I know that must have been hard, because you said that off air, you said in 92 your mother passed away, and then in 99 your father passed away. So you had 2 deaths while you were in prison, and they don't let you out for your people's funeral.
they let me out from. They brought me to my father's funeral.
Oh, they did? Okay.
They brought me to my father's. They brought me to my father's funeral. That was hard on me. I was still in the county jail when my mother died in September '92, and when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to attend the services, it was just unreal to me. And I kind of just went into myself, and I blocked it out. That's what I did. I blocked it out because I knew I couldn't be there, And my father came to see me every Saturday and brought my son every Saturday. And the thing about it was, I didn't know that my mother was dying. I didn't know she was in her last days.
Gotcha.
Until I called home. He didn't show up. I called home to check on him. No one answered the phone. I called my neighbor, and she answered. She took my call, and she told me that all my mother's sisters and brothers from Louisiana was down there. And I was like, oh, that's nice. They came down here to visit. And she knew then. She said, you don't know, do you? And I said, no, what? She said, your mother's in her last days. And I was like, don't say that. And she said, no, and somebody should have told you. And I was like, go down there and tell my daddy to answer this phone.
Else ain't there, man.
Thinking it's their place.
That's just like
Yeah.
The daddy was dealing with the way best he could.
That's a good lady. She may be watching.
Okay.
That she's my friend through it all. Through it all, it's my friend. Still is. I visit her right now. But, he answered the phone, and then I talked to some of my other relatives in there, and then he came. He said, I'll be up there tomorrow. And he came, and I asked him, why didn't he tell me? He said he didn't know how to tell me.
Right.
I said, with your mouth.
Dang.
With your mouth, Daddy. Just with your mouth,
But he knew that you would have wanted to do something. There was nothing you can do, I guess. I don't know.
No, I don't.
You just would have rather known.
I would have rather known. I mean, hurt me with the truth.
But you did know she had cancer, because that's when you went walking and never really came back.
Right.
So you knew it, and it devastated you.
But I didn't know my mother weighed 85 pounds at that time, and was really, I didn't know they had sent her home from the hospital and said, there's nothing more we can do. Take this medication for comfort. I didn't know that. You didn't
Gotcha.
tell me that. But anyway, she died. And
How old was she?
52.
What?
Whoa.
My age. So y'all know this age been weird to me,
Oh,
right?
I know.
This age been weird to me. It's been real weird.
Get up out there.
Well, let me let you know that my mother died when I was young, and I always thought when I got to be her age that I'd die too, but because my sister did many years later, the same age, so it is scary, but thank you, Jesus, I've lived 8 years past that.
Amen. But I'm okay with that. I really am. You know,
So
I'm really okay with that. And
Well, let's talk about so let's get back on. You blocked it out and how you managed that 92 to 2000 being in prison. So your mother passed away, and eventually you were sent from the county to a facility. Where did they send you first?
Gatesville, Riverside Unit, Hobby in Marlin, Texas, and then they opened up the Neal Unit in Amarillo.
Oh, wow, you had
so
to go
when
way
I was
up north?
traveling, yes, I'd been traveling.
You traveled.
And
You
so
traveled by the state of Texas.
Yes.
The state of Texas had you traveling.
And I went to Amarillo and then left Amarillo, and then they put us out because it was just so disruptive, deaths, drugs. Those officers everybody had their own officer. We were bringing all kind of stuff in there.
Oh, they was bringing y'all whatever y'all wanted?
Everything we wanted.
So what was you doing up in there?
Hustling.
Hustling? Okay, hustle wasn't gone yet.
It wasn't gone. And when I got back to Gatesville, you know when it left, everything changed when the chaplain called me, and I knew what it was.
With your father?
I knew what it was. And I talked to the sergeant, and she told me that get myself together, go get your hair braided, whatever you're gonna do, I'm gonna make sure you get home. And when I got home, when I got on the street by family church at that time, something came to me, and we pulled up, and I seen them taking that casket out of that hearse, and something came to me, and it was like, you ain't even finished. If you get out, I was up for parole. If you get out, you going back because you ain't even done. And I prayed right there in the back seat of that car, and I said, God, if I ain't ready, don't let me out of there. So the service went on, everything. Spent some time with my son and my family and everything, and then we couldn't go to the cemetery because it's too big of an open space. On the way back, just slept.
Now, did a guard go with you?
Two.
Two guards were with you the whole time?
And
So you just get to go to the funeral and then they drive you back. You don't get to stay or anything.
it wasn't a furlough like that.
Okay.
So when I went back, they had some kind of disruption on the unit, and we had to move to cell block. And then we got in the cell block, it was all kind of...
Now this is at Gatesville or Amarillo?
This is in Gatesville on the Terrace unit.
Okay.
And some kind of way, somebody was on the run, yelling and screaming about the shower. And I came out of my cell, looked down at the officer and waved at her and pointed at the shower and told her, I just want to shower so I can go lay down, you know. And next thing I know, somebody was knocking at the door,
Out of place.
calling my name, inciting a riot.
You inciting the riot?
That's what I said. I said, why would I do that? I talked to parole next week. Why would I incite a riot? But I got that case, and I got immediate set off.
Wow.
So
that was God.
I didn't go home.
Ready.
I wasn't ready. I
Yeah.
wasn't ready. The set off was like a year and 6 months, year and a half.
Yeah.
And then I made parole, and I went home. And when I went home, the lady that said, you really don't know, I paroled to her house. See, I tell you, that was my friend.
I know.
I paroled to her house, but I knew I couldn't stay there. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was standing in the streets, and just standing in the street looking at the house of the person that used to just give me drugs. And I didn't know. And from one end of the street came my auntie, my cousin that called in, her mother, and the other end came her brother.
Oh, the brother.
Came her brother. They just drove up, and she said, what you doing? And I said, nothing.
Trying to decide whether I should go in that dope house right
And
there.
she looked over there, she said, come on, you going with me. She said, where you live? I said, I don't know where to live. She said, come on, you going with me. Mind you, I'm looking at my family home, my mother and father's home.
Who's in it?
I don't know who was living there, but it was lost in the mix while I was gone, you know.
Your brothers are gone.
Yeah, it wasn't something that my younger brother could handle. He had a lot of anger. He was so mad at me. He was so mad at me. So, you know, I wasn't worried about any of that. And she took me, and we sat down at the table just like we're talking. And she said, you got to do everything I say.
This is your aunt.
Mm-hmm. She said, you got to do everything I say, and then you're going to be all right. She said, can you do that? I said, yes, ma'am. I can do that.
You were ready?
I was ready.
You
and
knew
I
you were ready,
asked
even though
her.
you stood in the middle of the street with that decision, because that to me didn't mean you were really kind of ready yet. How did you know you were ready?
I knew. I just knew. It was just a feeling, and I said, yes, ma'am. And She said, "You gonna be okay?" And I asked her the same question. How did you know that I was ready? She said, "I just knew. I just knew." That's all she ever said to me this day. I talked to her this morning. She just knew. And for 6 months, she told me when to go to bed, when to wake up, what to put on, who to talk to, who not to talk to, what to eat, just everything.
Wow.
And my cousin that called in, she was like, "You want to come stay with us? Because I know my mama over there controlling your life." And I was
But
like,
you needed that for that
I was
time.
like, "No, because if I can follow instructions, I'm going to be okay." And I did what she said. And then it was like 6 months. She said, "Okay, I ain't putting you out, but it's time to go." She said, "But you ready." And at that time, I went to Dallas. I wasn't running from
Now, was
anything.
someone in Dallas for you? Okay.
Someone, a friend of mine, was in Dallas and said, "Well, just come up here." Because I said, "I ain't to say she ain't put me out, but it's time to go. I don't even want to be around here. I didn't want. I just didn't want to be around." I said, "Well, come up here and stay a week." You know, 5 days after I was released, I had a job. So
In Houston, during that 6 months when you're staying with your aunt.
I had a job.
Where
And
were you working?
I was working at DSL Print Company downtown. I was downtown looking for a job, and a guy said, "Hey, I know you." I was like, he said, "I stole a car from you." He said, "I owe you one." He said, "You just got home?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I knew you was gone." He said, "Come on, talk to my boss. He gave me a job. He gonna give you one too."
What?
I knew that was God. Couldn't nobody else tell me nothing. You know what I mean?
Wow, that was
this ain't
God.
nothing you can make up, Dan. You can't make this
You
up.
can't make
You can't make this up. You can't make this
right.
up.
Can't make that
And I
up.
knew that, and I stayed on that job until I went to Dallas. And when I went to Dallas, I had a job waiting on me.
So your friend worked at UPS too?
No, I didn't go straight to UPS. I went to a company called Peterson Consulting. I was a financial analyst, but the company closed down, and I didn't want to transfer.
Oh, that's when
Well,
I transferred you to Maryland.
Yeah, and I couldn't do that. I ain't know nobody up there, no way. But everything was good. Went down there. I was in a good relationship for 8.5 years. Bought a home, had a home built, just doing things. My family that called in. They came down to my housewarming and birthday party and everything, and everybody was so proud of me. My brothers, they eventually migrated to Dallas,
Of
you know,
course,
and I kicked them out one by one because they weren't doing what I was doing.
Right, and they weren't following instructions.
Right, that's why where they are now. And I'm there, how you stay out there following instructions? It's really not that hard. But at that point, I had already said, when I turn 50, I'm going home. So in 2014, I put in for a transfer, and I came home.
And left your beautiful house and everything?
I left the relation. I had been left that.
Okay.
The dog, everybody,
Okay.
everything, because I was going back to prison. I was gonna go.
That situation
But I was,
put you back to prison.
I was gonna go for murder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we don't want to do that.
No, I was going. It was gonna be bad, so I knew what to do.
Okay.
And my family was like, "How you just gonna leave your house?" I said, "They
get
build
another
them.
house.
They build
You
them.
can get another house.
They
But
build them.
You know you can't get that time back when you go to prison.
But they understand now. And I came down here, and my grandson really asked me to come live with him, and I
How old
did.
was
He was like, he's finna be 9 next month, so he was 7.
So he was living with your son?
No, he was living with his mother. His mother, they're not together. They can't see eye to eye. But he's living with his dad now, though. And he asked me, he said, "Granny, you come stay down here, come stay with me, and bring your stairs." I lived in a townhouse, and he wanted me to bring the stairs because he liked to play on the stairs. And I came, and I stayed with him about 45 days. I said, "I got to go because I work nights. Like when I leave here, I'm going to work."
I got you.
I work nights, and I couldn't do that. And he has another brother and sister, and it was just too much for me. But I came down here to be closer to my grandson, my son. We never really had a good relationship.
Right.
Now he's forgiven me for leaving him, for choosing drugs and life of crime over a life with him. He's forgiven me finally. And that was the biggest thing in my life that could ever have happened.
How did you get him to forgive you? Because you missed his life.
I didn't get him to. He chose to.
Wow.
He chose to.
Did you work on it? Did you ask for forgiveness? I mean, how did it
I
come about?
apologized for making bad decisions, and I let him know that I can't give it back. I can only be what I can be now, and if you just let me love you and you love me back, I think we'll be okay. And I'm not here to dictate to you. I'm not here to do any of that because, like you said, I missed out on all that. So if we can be cool, I'll be all right. And he took that as that. And now it's, "Hey, Mom, what you doing?" I just call, "I love you, talk to you later, bye."
Oh, wow.
And
how
I love it. I
wonderful.
love it.
So in 99, when your father died, I guess your son was still living with your father? Was he grown yet?
No, he
So
wasn't
where'd he
grown.
have to go in 99?
Well, he went to several relatives, but he ended up with my youngest brother because that's what he knew and who he knew. And he kind of had a bad experience with that because it wasn't the nurturing type of relationship that a child needed because, you know, and the younger brother was distraught. His mama's gone, now his dad is gone, and everything's in an uproar, and he's angry because when my parents died, all three of the oldest were incarcerated.
Okay.
You know, and he said, y'all left me here by myself
deal
with
with
your
that.
child. You know,
So
and
he's
he had a
so
lot of
angry.
anger. Yeah, but he forgave me too.
Oh, really?
Oh, they.
And did he go to prison? Did the young one?
Yeah, eventually.
The young one did too?
Yes, eventually.
What was his thing? Drugs also?
Not using, selling.
He was a seller.
He was a
Seller.
distributor and
Oh, okay.
a delivery Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
yeah. But
Did he grow out of that, or is he on his way?
I don't really want to speak to.
We will leave that alone.
We'll leave him alone.
Out now, though.
I was.
That's
And he
you
stays
asked that question. You asked that question.
I know, but I was hoping it was like a
went
story
there.
like hers. You know, so I didn't know. So,
But we-
That's real time. That's real time.
Listen. Everybody has the right to remain silent.
Yeah. Then and now,
he
you
gets a
brought
story.
the now.
He gets a story. I'll call you.
You'll call me so he can tell his story, huh?
The then and now.
Too real. Got too real for a minute.
Getting too real.
Got
then?
too real.
It's getting too real. Okay, so your little brother's mad.
Not anymore.
Really?
He's not mad. Nobody's mad. No, there's no anger anymore. It's not.
Wow.
We good. We
Wow,
good.
that's good.
And that's just enough for me every day.
That is.
Healing at its best.
Healing at its best. So tell me how do you maintain your sobriety and staying away from TDC?
Well, that's easy. See, they told me in the program, Alcoholics Anonymous, they said,
Now, this is Alcoholics Anonymous in prison or out of prison?
out of prison.
Okay.
It said, God is going to be everything or nothing. So make your choice. So I chose for God to be everything to me. So I asked God to take those desires from me and just let me be normal. And I believed that he could do it.
Wow.
So that's just what that is. I already know he can do anything.
Wow.
So it's just that simple. If you had a mound of cocaine right here, and we were sitting at this table, it would still be there unless you guys did something with it.
Well, I'm not going to do it.
Because it's just no longer a thing for me.
you.
That's
You took that desire away from
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did. And
Are you able to drink socially?
Yes, I can, and I have, but I'm just not really a drinker. Anyway, so
But you can have a beer around the holiday
yeah,
or
I
something
can
like that.
drink some champagne. Yeah,
Right.
I can do that. I can do that, and I don't feel like I need to go get some crack rocks or something. You know?
Marijuana, or weed or anything?
No, I don't need to do all that. But then I have too much going on.
Right, you
know.
do.
I have too much going on. I'm trying to do things continuously, and it's not about me, because I've learned that in order to keep what I have to continuously give it away. So when somebody asks me to do something, I do it.
Give me an example.
We go and pass out coats to the homeless downtown by the Pierce Elevated or Congress and 59. You gonna go to the thrift store with me at 4 o'clock in the morning and get some? Like 4 o'clock in the morning? I'm at work.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna leave early. I'm gonna go in early and leave early. Yeah, I'll be there, because you can't drive no way. Okay, yeah,
Wow.
I'm
What's
gonna
your
do that.
normal shift at UPS?
9 to whenever.
But was it supposed to be 9 to 6 in the morning or what?
No, it's really supposed to be like midnight to 5:30, but this is peak season, so
So you normally go in at midnight and get off at 5:30.
it's a part-time job. It's a part-time position, but the hours are never part-time.
So you can support yourself with that one job that's part-time.
UPS is a good company.
Okay. All right. I mean, but I thought people that started at UPS part-time grow to a full-time job.
I think they gauge it where it's like it's full time, but they label it part time. You either working full
Do
time
you
hours.
get benefits?
Yes.
13
I'm a supervisor.
years?
So I'm just saying, but I thought part-time jobs you didn't get benefits. So this part-time job you get benefits.
I think they got the system rigged a little bit. So
But I don't understand it. I'm trying to understand.
I think it's a system where they keep them from having to pay people full-time benefits or wages.
No,
Because I think they
What's
get
up
it.
with UPS?
it's just always been like that. It's a part-time position. I hold a part-time position.
Okay.
Operations management supervisor, but it's a part-time position. It's
From
not
12 to, you're the supervisor from 12 to 5:30.
27 and a half hours a week. But when you work that, let me know.
So how many hours do you usually work?
Depends on what time of the year it is.
Okay.
See,
This time of year is busy, so.
yeah, so it can be 40, 50, 60.
So is there ever a time where it's slow where you actually work your 27 and a half hours? Mm-hmm. And that can sustain your lifestyle? Or you have to save for that for times when it's not?
I really don't.
You don't? Okay, you live modestly. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what brought you to St. John's United Methodist Church?
Well, when I came back, I'm like, well, I know I got to go find me a church. Because if I don't find no church, my auntie going to make me go to church with them.
Right. And
They gonna make they laugh right now. I know they laugh. They gonna make me go to Good Shepherd. I don't want to go to Good Shepherd. That's my mom and dad at church and
wanna find
everything.
your own
I want
church.
to find my own church where I can be comfortable with who I am, my sexuality, and nobody. They know me from a child. Nobody's gonna shun me or push me away. But I want to be
free.
Accepted.
yes,
Accepted.
yes,
And
yes.
one thing about our church is we accept everybody as they are.
Yes, Lord. And somebody say, go to St. John. So I went, and when the first time I went, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I kept going. I dated them for a year and a half before I even joined church. And that's just where I've been. And I love my church. I love
Right,
my pastors.
Who was your pastor?
Which one?
Both of them.
All
Give them a
of
shout out. Pastor Rudy Ramos and
Rudy and Juanita.
All right.
Ramus.
Yes.
But when I saw you on a Thursday night, tell me about the meeting I met you at. Did I meet you
Path
at
to
the
Freedom.
meeting, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Path to Freedom. I saw Danny in the hallway at a table.
Recruiting, as he always does.
Yes. And it was just it was something about Danny, and I was like, look at him, let me go over here. And I went over there, and I was, what's going on over here? And he started telling me and everything, and I was listening at him, and I knew he was really, really into what he was talking about. He was serious about it. He was passionate about it. And I was like, it's something on the shirt, something about a cycle. It's something I saw about
Changing the prison cycle.
changing the prison cycle. And
But
I
it's
was
just
like,
those camouflage patches of
And I love
papers, right?
camouflage. I love
Right.
camouflage.
I thought that was a peace sign that was on there. I didn't know that was a cycle sign. I have one.
And I was like, hey, this is what I need to be in right here. This is for me. This is for me right here. And that's how it started right there.
So how does the path to freedom at our church keep you grounded and motivated to stay free and happy?
Because I know what it is to be on the other side, and I know the letter writing part of it. I know what it is to get mail. I know what it is to not get mail. And for a person to have somewhere to come, somebody that's going to attend to their needs, when they get out, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And people need to know, because I met somebody yesterday that was just talking, and it was like, it's hard, you can't do this, and da-da-da-da. And
It was someone that had just gotten out of prison?
he had been out a few years, and he was going down the wrong path, and he was on the right path that day, though, yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was saying, that's not true, and he was like, no, you just don't understand. So I broke it down to him and said,
oh, yes, I know.
Yeah,
And I've known longer
understand.
than you.
And I'm the example. And he said, but you just say you just came from work at UPS. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm telling you. You know, so to be a part of something that's going to be there for those people when they get out, to give them some direction, some information, and be a positive point in their life, that's all good for me. That's all good. That's just my chance to give back even more. It
was very inspirational when I went. I know I went because I took a judicial candidate there, but it was good to see the round circle.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to see you praying and uplifting each other with everybody having the same stories or supporting their loved ones that had that story. So that was a beautiful thing, and I can see how it could keep people inspired. I was a little frustrated the night I went because there was a young man there that had his headphones on too loud. He was there,
Yes,
acting like he wasn't supposed to be there. Somebody, and I was like, did somebody make him come for parole or something? I mean, it's like,
we found out that he's he has some extra stuff going on in his life medically,
I know.
okay.
mentally.
Yeah,
And we didn't
mental.
know that, but we love him.
No. Oh no, we love them all, but I was just wondering why he wasn't trying to participate because it does still. He was still focusing. He just wasn't focusing on the meeting. He was focusing on what was in his ear. I mean, that's a choice. I'm not. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, either I can focus on this, or I can focus on the group that I'm in.
It was like watching autism in a grown man versus in.
But he wasn't. He knew how to make decisions because it's not that easy to keep those earbuds in your ear. I'm smart and they fall out of my ear. I can't keep them in my ear. I mean, he was singing. I mean, he was
singing.
focusing on what he was doing. So he had a choice to take those earbuds out of his ear, though. I don't care if you I mean, everybody has a choice.
Yes.
Your mentality can be a crutch.
Interesting that night.
Everybody
I wanted to slap him. That's what I wanted to do.
I was like,
It was like having your child there, and you gonna embarrass me in front of all these people.
Right. I think somebody finally, somebody took him outside.
We took him out to the woodshed.
Yeah, somebody need to beat his ass. That's what it needed. That's what it needed. Danny, we got 2 minutes, so talk to me. Tell me what you want to say. You've been so sweet and attentive to Belinda's story.
Well, it's about her, and it's about her story, and it's about inspiring people that are watching. It's about her family being able to celebrate, her life and where it is, where then was and what now looks like. It's about people can change, and it's about you giving us a platform to show the world that no matter what our experiences are, where we come from, that people can change. But her change is contributed to a spiritual change. She's giving God the credit and the honor for that change. And that's why we're all here, because we met through St. John's, and we all fellowship under the belief that the reason we go to church is because we believe in God. Amen. What I'm excited about is that the ministry that I'm a part of, newly elected director of Path of Freedom, that I met both of you guys at that recruitment table, reaching out to the community in the church, saying that what we're doing here is very important. We're here as returning citizens.
Come back, give Danny his close-up, thank you.
Returning citizen is a label that's supposed to replace ex-offender or felon return, when you get out of prison. So we say we're returning citizens, we're back. And what citizens do is they give back. You hear what Belinda says she does?
Yeah.
Somebody call her and say, let's go pass out
We have 30 seconds, yes.
So that's what returning citizens do. They get part of the community. I'm glad to have you with the Path of Freedom. Glad to have Vivian as a sponsor with the Path of Freedom. Thankful for our church and Pastor Rudy and Pastor Ramos. Great platform. If you are, we meet on Thursdays at St. John's from 5:30 to 7:30, 2019 Crawford Street. Glad for you to join us.
Belinda, thank you so much for telling your story. It's so inspirational to tell us your story. We have a church member, and a criminal justice community member that needs our prayers. Ricky Johnson, he's the candy man that sells candy in front of the courthouse. I went today to pay his rent, and I've been going to see him. He has a current article in the Houston Press, the Houston Chronicle, wrote an article that was published yesterday. He was on all the news stations yesterday, all ABC, CBS, all of them.
No.
And Ricky's with the beard. I used to sit with him in church. I sat with him in church. You come at 10, I'm there at 8, but he's there with me with the cane. And so Ricky is battling colon cancer. Let's pray for Ricky. Thank you so much for telling your story. We love you, Belinda. We're proud of you. I love you, Danny. I'm proud of you. And I love you, Ricky Johnson, for now, for always, forever. Good night. Thank you for tuning in again. Tonight we have something really good, a hot topic in the news this week. We've been charged with crime. This is a show where I try to